A caravan of camels winds through the blazing dunes of the Taklamakan Desert. Dust clings to silk robes, spices waft from weathered satchels, and the air hums with languages from a dozen lands. At the heart of this procession walks a Sogdian merchant, his mind not just on profits but on the stories, flavors, and wonders waiting on the other side of the world. This is not merely a trade route. It is the Silk Road, the ancient artery of civilization where empires collided, religions intertwined, and food, culture, and ideas flowed with a force greater than armies. Imagine biting into a dumpling in a Beijing alley. Its soft dough hides fragrant lamb, seasoned with cumin and coriander. Those spices. They began their journey thousands of miles away, crossing mountains and seas, carried in the packs of Persian traders and Arab spice merchants. Centuries before Marco Polo set foot in Asia, cooks in Central Asia were already simmering lamb in saffron-laced stews, pouring pomegranate syrup over charred meats, and baking flatbreads that looked oddly like Roman focaccia. These weren't coincidences, they were culinary echoes, passed like torches from hand to hand across deserts, oases, and ancient inns. The Silk Road wasn't a single road. It was a vast, shifting web stretching from Xi'an in China to Antioch in Syria, threading through Persia, India, and the steppes of Central Asia. And where people traveled, they brought their kitchens. Merchants carried more than silk and jade. They packed pickled lemons, dried rose petals, pine nuts, garlic, turmeric, and honeycombs. Buddhist monks brought saffron and sesame seeds as offerings. Muslim scholars traded in dried dates and preserved lemons. Armenian caravans hauled casks of wine, hidden beneath bolts of cloth. And then there was the noodle. A 1,000-year-old bowl unearthed near the Yellow River contained strands of millet noodles so perfectly preserved they could have come from a modern kitchen. Yet noodle dishes weren't confined to China. In Persia, ashrashta noodles, in a thick bean, soup sustained caravans. In Italy, pasta appeared just centuries later. Was it Marco Polo who brought it back? Probably not. The idea had already seeped westward like spice into stew. Cuisine along the Silk Road evolved not by conquest, but by curiosity. The Mongol Empire, brutal in battle, but cosmopolitan in administration, served as a cultural blender. Mongol kitchens fed their nomadic warriors horse milk and dried meat, but in conquered cities like Samarkand, they dined on pilaf, borrowed from Persian chefs, and flavored with Chinese soy. Samarkand itself was a culinary crucible. Nestled in modern-day Uzbekistan, it became a jewel of the Silk Road, where chefs marinated meat in yogurt, baked bread on tandoor walls, and learned to pickle everything from carrots to garlic. Here, food wasn't just sustenance, it was a symbol of diplomacy, identity, and survival. In bustling bazaars from Aleppo to Kashgar, scent alone could tell you where you were. The smoky tang of lamb kebabs and tubris, the incensed sweet smell of cinnamon tea in Baghdad, the oily richness of sesame cakes and dood. The road also carried food myths. In one story, an Armenian traveler in the 10th century arrived in China and was invited to a banquet featuring dumplings. He insisted they resembled a dish his mother made back home. The Chinese host laughed. "We all have mothers," he said, "and we all fold dough to remember them." Not every exchange was peaceful. The Crusades disrupted Eastern Mediterranean trade. Mongol raids tore through Central Asia. Yet even in these flames, culinary fusion found a way. The Mamluks in Egypt, once slaves, rose to power and created dishes mixing Turkish yogurt sauces with Levantine chickpeas. The Silk Road also sparked revolutions in agriculture. Chinese peach pits were found in Roman ruins. Armenian apricots grew in Indian orchards. Sugarcane marched from South Asia to the Middle East, and eventually to Europe forever, altering palates and economies. Even tea had a secret path. Before the British obsession, before teapots and Victorian parlors, bricks of fermented tea were hauled on yak back across Tibetan plateaus. In bustling Kashgar inns, Uzbek traders mixed green tea with crushed almonds and apricots, a drink both soothing and strange to foreign tongues. But food wasn't the only thing transformed. Alongside the meals came manners, rituals, and belief systems. Buddhist vegetarianism spread east to Japan and west to the Levant. Islamic dietary law halal merged with Persian hospitality traditions, giving birth to elaborate banquets that served faith as much as appetite. And then there were the forks or the lack of them. In China, chopsticks. In Persia, fingers. In Venice, silver prongs borrowed from Byzantine court. The very way we eat traveled these ancient paths. Behind every dish is a story. Take the humble kebab, meat on skewers. But along the Silk Road, it became 100 things. Shashlik in Central Asia, tikka in India, satay in Southeast Asia. All began with a fire, a stick, and a hunger shared by shepherds, soldiers, and sultans. Or consider layers of pastry, syrup, and nuts. Greeks claim it, so do Turks and Arabs. But the technique, layered and sweetened, likely originated in the royal kitchens of Persia, inspired by Chinese steamed sweets and refined by Armenian bakers. In a way, the Silk Road taught humanity to eat together, to borrow, adapt, and transform. In roadside caravanserais, strangers shared flatbread and fruit, speaking in pantomime, trading recipes as freely as they traded stories. A cinnamon bun in Sweden traces its spice to Sri Lanka. An Italian risotto owes its golden hue to saffron fields in Iran. And even today, when we tuck into a meal rich with garlic, turmeric, soy, or sesame, we're tasting echoes of that great exchange. Yet the road was more than the sum of its parts. It was alive, ever-changing, winding through wars and peace, across borders drawn and erased, through languages lost and reborn. The Silk Road may be a relic of maps, but its soul lingers in our kitchens, in the way we break bread with strangers, in the spices on our shelves, in the fusion dishes that grace mata menus from Korean tacos in Los Angeles to Japanese Nikkei cuisine in Lima. It whispers to us in every shared meal that humanity's greatest journeys are not just about where we go but what we bring and what we become along the way.